Hey, what is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be continuing my journey on the RX-7 because I am excited to get this car running again. I've wanted an RX-7 for so many years and it's always been such an unobtainable car for me because these things sell for, like, in this condition, if this car was running and driving, like 40 to 45K is what I'm typically seeing left-hand drive, clean title cars with this mileage on them go for. We got it for like half that. We got it for like 20K. It just needs a lot of love, obviously, but that's all right because those are the cars that I like. Those are the cars that I like to pick up because then we can make it our own in the building journey, and it teaches me a ton about the car before I just jump into the car and I start driving it and doing things like that. So I've been working on the FD over the past couple of days off camera, just kind of doing some small stuff here and there on it. I have a glorious stockpile of parts for this car inside of it, which I'll go over with you guys, but the main things I want to kind of knock out today is finish up the fuel pump install because I pulled out the old fuel pump hanger, which had like a really old like AEM 340 in there, which, as you guys can see, it just like it corroded and everything on this old hanger is just garbage. So I installed a radium hanger with a lift pump, a surge tank, and 3 Wall Bureau 450s in this car. So we have a lot going on with our fun little FD here. I've got like a nice little plethora of parts going on in here, from radium stuff to the other stuff. We have our big Borg Warner down there on the floor. I found out that this is a genuine Mazdaspeed wing, which is, I'm like, that's cool. So we got this thing sucked to install, but it's really cool. So this radium hanger, it allows you to run 3 fuel pumps. There's a lift pump in here, and the actual hanger acts as a surge tank. So the lift pump will fill up the surge tank, keep 1.3 liters of fuel in there at all times, and then we can run that. Now I also opted and got the radium fuel filter set up so that way we can run a clean fuel system in this car. Let me go down there, rip out all of the old fuel system stuff, and then we can start getting this fun radium stuff installed because I want to get the fuel system at least done up to the front of the car, so that way we're just kind of focusing on the engine bay and the engine. Now, as much as that radium hanger sucked to install, before we go down under the car, you know what sucks a little bit more? Getting all these spam texts and phone calls that I get almost on a daily basis, which someone sold my phone number again, which leads me to today's video sponsor, Aura. Now I want to give a huge shout out to today's video partner, Aura. Have you ever been on the internet? I'm sure you have. You know those super sketchy sites where you can go on there and Google your personal information or look up your personal information on these sites, and it'll display things like your address, your phone number, your mother's maiden name, your father's maiden name, your relatives' addresses, all that stuff? Yeah, I don't like that. I don't think any of you guys like that either. Now, data brokers who run these sites make a fortune selling your personal information to scammers, those spam bots. You know when you get those really weird phone calls for a really long time from like the same spam risk phone number? It's because one of those data brokers sold your information to them. Or it can identify data brokers exposing your information and submit opt-out requests on your behalf. Brokers are legally required to remove your information if you ask them to, but they make it super hard to do. So let Aura handle it for you. You don't gotta deal with it. Now, Aura does more than just protect your private information. They also do things like password manager, antivirus stuff, VPNs, parental controls, things of that nature. So that way, if you got little ones, you don't want them spreading your information on the internet either, you can set those parental controls for them. Plus, it's very convenient because Aura puts all of this in one app, so that way you don't have to go across several different apps to download these things. You can just do it all from one singular source. Now, down below in the description, there's a link over to Aura where you can try it out for 2 weeks free before committing to it, but I guarantee you're probably going to want to keep using them as I have to keep your personal information from being used across the internet, because I know personally I get tired of getting spam calls almost every single day. Again, I want to give a huge shout out to Aura with partnering us on this video, and if you are interested in that 2-week free trial, you can go to aura.com/Smeedia to get your 2-week free trial. Now, let's get back to getting these cars running because, quite frankly, we have too many of them sitting around and we need to get them running. What is actually going on up here? So this line I can actually just pull out right there. I think same with this one. So it looks like he had the feed and the return going through this thing. I'm not entirely sure, but there's that. I need to grab the 11/16 to be able to take that guy off, right? Old fuel filter doodad is out. Okay, so now I think this line just comes right out. Sick! Alright, old fuel line is out. Make sure it's flush. it doesn't want to go on. It'll go on, but it just doesn't want to. Oh my God, no! Look at that. Lines up perfect. We got the fuel pumps in. The lines, at least the feed line ran from the fuel pump down here to the filter, and then that runs up to the front of the car. So sick! We have our primary feed system done for the fuel setup. While we were doing all that, the fuel pressure regulator came in that I ordered from Radium. Next up, I want to knock out this Chase Bay's master cylinder, master cylinder, but it's I kind of smacked it with a hammer for some. Don't ask me why, okay? I don't know what I was doing, but we need to get that guy out. So to get the old one out, I'm gonna have to move all this stuff. Got like the gritty compression tube in here, a whole bunch of gasket seals, new oil pan. Yeet this old one out of here. Once the old one is out, we can go ahead and get the new Chase Bay's one in. I just wanna get everything prepped so that way, as soon as the engine's in, we can start running lines, getting everything done, just getting this thing ready to go, if that makes sense. So it's all like the backup things that aren't necessarily fun, but the things we gotta do. Just as I expected, that sucked. These things, they're not hard to swap out, but they're a pain in the ass. It doesn't matter what the car is. On the back side, you've got this little guy here that's got like a little pin that goes through it with a retaining clip. You have to get that off, then you got to finagle this out, and there's like bolts and studs that go through it on one side, bolts and studs that go through it on the other side. It's just not a fun time. This one's gonna probably just go in the spare parts bin back here. I've learned not to throw away FD parts. Don't throw these away, whatever it may be. Just keep them for a rainy day. Sweet, well, like I said, that was not a fun time. To continue to reduce how many parts I've got chilling on the inside of the car, we're gonna go ahead and toss on our new front control arms. These are not OEM, these are third-party ones, but I mainly just bought these so that way we could swap out the ball joints on the front suspension. Then after we have these on, we can actually get the coilovers and the front suspension permanently on this car, so that way we don't have to keep playing this game where it's like on, off, on, off, on, off type of deal. I'm trying to get through like all the boxes that I have in the car, because I bought a lot of stuff, like little random things, just to get the car going, like I said. We'll also get the new headlight covers on. They're not paint matched right now, it doesn't matter. We'll get them painted as well as the wing. And I'd like to re-clear coat the whole car. I don't want to get the whole car repainted. Honestly, it just needs to be re-clear coated, if that makes sense. So, whew, control arms, let's go do them. New upper control arms are installed, so that way we have brand new ball joints in there. Next up, we're going to toss in, if I can get these out, brand new headlight covers for the pop-ups, because all of the tabs on mine are broken. So they're not actually mounted on there. They're just kind of sat on the front end of the car. So we're gonna pop those off real quick. It's just a couple screws. We'll pop on our new headlight covers. At some point, the whole car is gonna go, once it runs and drives, the whole car is gonna go and get re-clear coated. I don't know if they can just re-clear coat a car, but the car's clear coat it's failing in a lot of spots. So I think they'll just go through, maybe scuff up the clear coat, do one layer of base coat maybe, and then clear over that. I'm not a painter, I don't know. I just know the car needs to be re-cleared. So swap out these headlight and the wing. The wings are gonna have to be painted, headlight cover, all that stuff. So swap out some headlight covers real quick. Super easy. Super mean, dude. It's like all the mounting tabs just broken. It's hard though. New headlight covers in, out of the car. Next up, I'm gonna jump over and start making all of the relays and whatnot for the 2 fuel pumps back here. I kind of just want to wrap up the trunk so that way there's nothing else that we got to do back here, and it's all just gonna be like clean and tidy and not torn apart like this. So I just have a thing of spare relays. I ran to the shop, grabbed a whole bunch of electrical stuff. I got some sheet metal here. I'm gonna go ahead and make a bracket to mount the relays to. I'll probably leave a 3rd spot open on that, so if we need to add a 3rd fuel pump in the future, we can. Then I'm gonna mount both of those relays probably somewhere down here along that, or tucked away somewhere. I'm not entirely sure yet. I'll find a spot in here. I was gonna do back behind this thing, but I couldn't figure out how to get this panel off because there's that wire harness there and it would just be super easy. But I don't know, maybe I'll try finoodling with that thing a little bit more to try to see if I can get this thing off. But this is gonna take me a little while, so let me turn these into some harnesses and let's just get this done. Well, this has just been a fun time. I'm almost done with the relay wiring. All that's left to do is run those wires right there to the battery relocation, which we still have to do. That's gonna go over there. And I need to put 2 inline, I believe 20 amp fuses on the power side. Now for all the fuel pump wiring and all the relay wiring, I decided to go with 14 gauge. 14 gauge should be big enough for 1 450 each. So if you come in here and you look in the fuel tank, everything is all wired up. I still do have to do that 1 return line, but I need about, I don't know, probably 10 feet of -6 line to go from back here up to the front of the car. So I'll get that ordered tonight, and then we should be able to just wrap up the rear end of this car, which I actually may have some in one of my hose bins down there. If I have a big enough line or a big enough piece of -6, we'll just run it up. So actually, let me check. If I do, I'm just gonna do it. If not, we'll just button that up for now. To be able to get the return going. So that works out for me pretty well. Right there, the wires. I need to sheath up a good portion of these running over to where the battery is going to go, so I'll probably sheath it up to the battery, and then we can reassemble the trunk. So we got back here cleaned up for the most part. I need to get that battery relocated so that way I can finish putting all this stuff in here. So I'm gonna have to hold off until our battery relocation stuff comes in. Until then, I am going to go ahead and get the wing mounted up on the car. Makes me a little nervous. I am going to be repainting this, so I'm not too concerned with drilling into it if it's not going to be perfect. Like if it ruins the paint a little bit, it's not the end of the world since it is getting repainted. So you guys can, I'm gonna go ahead and clean off this surface first.
Square as possible.
Let's stay square and like gentle.
When you hear the cracking, stop.
So the wing is all mounted up. For some reason, my camera overheated as we were actually getting it mounted up, so I do apologize for that, but the wing is on there. So we made a reverse template. So we put tape on the bottom side of the wing, and then we put another piece facing the opposite direction. So when we put the wing onto the hatch like this, it would transfer that tape over after we made the marks where the holes are. We're slightly off on one of them. It's not a huge deal. Those are mainly there just for support of the wing. That one will still go in. It's just gonna be, that's probably gonna have to be the first one that we do. But it's mainly for support of the wing, and it's also to help keep pressure on it once we get the 3M tape on. So it honestly went on relatively nice. This, what side is this? The driver's side is gonna have to be adjusted a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty on there where it needs to be. Mazdaspeed wing is actually mounted to the car. Like I said, this is gonna get painted and everything. I do have these end caps floating around somewhere. I think they're right here. I don't know how these get mounted yet though, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. Not quite sure how those actually get mounted on there, but we'll figure it out. I'm thinking for the wing, the actual wing itself will paint match to the car, and then the blade will do like a piano black, or if someone can wrap this in carbon, that would be kind of cool too. Just have like a genuine Mazdaspeed wing wrapped in carbon and whatnot. I think that would look dope. All the stuff for the battery relocation came in also, but I ordered the wrong size cable, so I need to order 4 or 2 gauge. I'll probably do a 2 gauge. For some reason I ordered 6. I don't know why. Maybe I misread it wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but I ordered the wrong gauge, so I'm gonna return that, get the proper gauge. Our fuses came in for the fuel pumps also, so once all that is actually in that little rear cubby back there, we can get the rest of the electrical wrapped up in the hatch of the car, which will be nice. But we just got our order put in for the Greddy V-mount kit and the injectors for the car. We have ID 1700 and ID 1300s. The 1300s will be the primaries, the 1700s will be the secondaries, and then the V-mount. So huge shout out to Rally Sport. Once those come in, we can start getting that stuff done. The seals for the 13B sitting back there should be in next week, so I can rebuild that engine next week and get it back in the car. I also ended up ordering the ACT lightweight flywheel with the counterweight for this thing. I figured we'll just put a new flywheel on it. It makes more sense. We're doing all this other stuff. It makes sense just to do the flywheel in addition to rebuilding the entire rest of the car. So we're a little bit in the future. I just got noticed that the coolant jacket seals for the 13B are actually in the Seattle sort facility, so those could be here tomorrow or Friday. It would be really cool if they showed up tomorrow, because then I can get that 13B built. The lightweight flywheel shipped out today, so it looks like hopefully in the next video we're going to be getting that 13B rebuilt, put back in the engine bay of this RX-7, so that way we can start figuring things out. I need to figure out a wire harness situation. I have the one that's in the car now, but you guys know me, it's crusty, it's gross, it's old. I'm looking at either building my own Haltech Elite 2500 harness, which I can do, ordering a new S6, which is Series 6, which is our RX7 engine harness. They still make OEM ones, or getting a wiring specialties one. I just don't know. I don't want to buy an aftermarket wire harness. I'd rather build my own, if that makes sense. Now that I know how to do wiring, it doesn't like freak me out anymore like it used to. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys on this one. Massive, absolute massive progress on the RX-7. Brand new fuel system installed. The wing is finally mounted. New pop-ups in there, clutch master cylinder in there, and all the new control arms. Whole bunch of stuff going on with this thing. Like I said, I am going full steam ahead on this RX-7 to try to get it running by the end of the summer. I told myself I can't go crazy on the new WRX until the RX-7 runs. Doesn't have drive, at least until it runs. Because obviously tuning, I don't know, do you have to break in a rotary engine? For all my rotary people out there, do you have to break in a rotary? Or is it like as soon as it's good to go? I don't know. I'm gonna have to do more research on that. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you like the video, you know what to do. Go hit that like button, turn to black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver sign, whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be able to put it in one of these corners, no idea which one quite yet. But with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.